Okay, so we're diving into what looks like one of the simplest, most straightforward verses in the entire Torah. It's about the death of the matriarch Sarah. On the surface, it just seems like a quick historical note. But the Zohar, the foundational text of Kabbalah, it basically slams on the brakes and says, whoa, hold on. This is a secret. And it's not just any secret. It's a paradigm-shifting revelation about the very nature of life, death, and how a soul can achieve this perfect, holy exit from our world.
All right, here's the game plan for this deep dive. First up, we're going to uncover what that secret actually is. Then, we have to look at the default path out of this world, what the Zohar calls the serpent's path. After that, we'll unlock the alternative, the incredible secret of Kiryat Arba. From there, we'll get into the super deep mechanics with some cosmic engineering, but then we're going to make it really accessible by reframing it as logging out of the game. And finally, we'll bring it all home, making it personal with the mission, building your own exit.
All right, let's just paint the picture here. We're in Genesis, chapter 23, verse 2. And Sarah died in Kiryat Arba, which is Hebron. Now, that sounds like a pin on a map, right? Just a location. But the Zohar insists, no, this isn't geography. This is a spiritual blueprint. This isn't just where she died. It's the absolute key to how she transitioned. And what's really incredible is that this path, it's potentially available to every single one of us.
I mean, the Zohar quotes the verse word for word. And Sarah died in Kiryat Arba. This is a secret. It is not messing around here. The bombshell secret isn't that a 127-year-old woman passed away. Of course not. It's that her death was on a completely different level from almost any other in history. The real secret is how she died, and honestly, even more profoundly, how she didn't die.
And that, right there, is the heart of the whole thing. The Zohar is basically laying out two completely different operating systems for how a soul leaves the body. You've got the default program, the standard path, which it calls death administered by the crooked serpent. And then there's Sarah's path, a holy transition, a privileged exit. So the real question becomes, what in the world is the serpent, and how did she manage to completely bypass it?
So, to really get what Sarah pulled off, we first have to understand the default setting, the very system she transcended. And that means we have to meet the bad guy in this cosmic story, the Nitshash Akimatan, the crooked serpent. Now, we're not talking about a literal snake here. This is the Kabbalistic code for the spiritual force of separation, decay, and entropy that usually governs the end of life.
Right, and this serpent's main weapon, its primary tool, is a concept called Zuhama. Now, we have to be super clear. This isn't about physical dirt. It's better to think of it as spiritual static, a kind of metaphysical gunk, a residue of disconnection. This Zuhama creates a sort of spiritual gravity that yanks the soul from the body in a really chaotic, impure way, and it leaves the physical vessel, well, contaminated. This is the standard, default experience of death for most of humanity.
And you can see the two models right here, side by side. It's such a stark contrast. On the left, you've got the default, death by serpent. It's all about domination and defilement. The soul is just chaotically torn from the body, leaving behind all that spiritual impurity. That's a hama. It's like a total system crash, a blue screen of death for the soul. But then you look to the right and you see Sarah's exit. This is about holiness and unification. It's not a tearing, it's an intentional, gentle gathering of the soul. The vessel stays totally pure. It's a privileged, clean, beautiful exit.
So how did she do it? How did she get this VIP exit? The Zohar tells us to go right back to the verse. The key, the literal password for this privileged exit protocol, is hidden right there in the name of the place, Kiryat Arba. And we have to stop seeing it as just a city on a map and start seeing it for what it is. The name for a profound spiritual state, a connection so powerful it literally makes you immune to the serpent's influence.
Okay, let's get our detective hats on here and decode this, because it's brilliant. Kiryat Arba literally translates to the city of four. Simple enough. But the verse immediately tells us which is Hebron, and that is the giant clue. The name Hebron comes from the Hebrew root chibur, which means connection, joining, unification. So the Torah is practically screaming the secret at us. Sarah's transition didn't happen in a place of separation and decay. It happened within a state of ultimate, unbreakable connection.
And here they are, the four from the city of four. Hebron is where the foundational couples of humanity are buried: Adam and Eve, Abraham and Sarah, Isaac and Rebekah, and Jacob and Leah. In Kabbalah, these aren't just historical figures. Think of them more like cosmic pillars. They are stable, hardwired connections, like fiber optic cables straight to the upper spiritual worlds, the Sephirot. Abraham embodies Chesed,
loving kindness. Isaac is Gevurah, strength. Jacob is Tiferet, harmony. By living a life of total connection, Sarah had basically woven her entire consciousness into this foundational, unshakable spiritual network. And the Zohar just hammers this point home. It's so powerful. Her death was not by another hand, which means no external agent, no crooked serpent was even involved. It was a totally internal process. It happened in Kiryat Arba, in that state of perfect unification with this holy patriarchal root. The serpent had no access point, no jurisdiction. It's a fortress. It couldn't even see, let alone get near.
Okay, buckle up, because this is where we really get to peek under the hood at the cosmic engineering of the soul's exit. We're going to map out these two different pathways, the serpent's default route and Sarah's exclusive one, right onto the Sephirotic tree, which is the Kabbalistic blueprint of all reality. This is going to be fun.
Right, so think of the normal way out as a straight-up cyber attack on your system. The serpent, the malicious code, injects its virus, the Zuhama. It immediately targets a known security flaw in the system's architecture, the spiritual channel called Yesod, or foundation. This is the main pipeline between the spiritual and physical worlds. By compromising Yesod, it corrupts Malkut, which is our physical body and world. And the end result isn't a clean shutdown. It's a messy, chaotic system crash that basically defiles the hardware.
And you can almost see this, right? The colors for this path are all dark reds and blacks. These symbolize the forces of impurity, chaos, and what Kabbalah calls the klippah, these husks or empty shells of spiritual energy that are just disconnected from anything holy. It's the color palette of separation and decay.
But Sarah's protocol? Wow. This is like having root access, the admin password to the entire system. First, she initiates the Chabur, the connection sequence. This lets her completely bypass that compromised Yaso channel that everyone else has to deal with. Instead, she establishes a secure, encrypted, hardwired connection directly to the superstable mainframe, that patriarchal root of Chesed, Gevurah, and Tiferet. From there, her soul isn't ripped out, it's gathered cleanly, like a perfect data migration, leaving the body totally pure and peacefully decommissioned.
And the colors here? Totally different. We're talking pure, brilliant gold and white light. These colors represent the radiance of unified holiness, absolute purity, and a clean, lossless transfer of consciousness. It's not the imagery of a crash, it's the imagery of a luminous, intentional ascent. No shadow, no impurity, just elevation.
Okay, so that was the high-level cosmic engineering deep dive. Pretty incredible stuff. But now let's translate all of that into a language that might be a little more fun. Let's think of our time in this world as a huge, open-world video game.
All right, so picture this. Life is this epic open-world game, let's call it World of Being. And we're all playing the level called Physical Life. For most players, the game ends when you have to face the final boss, the corrupting serpent. And what usually happens is you get hit with this nasty status effect called poison damage. That's our Zuhama. The result is a messy game over screen and worse, a corrupted save file.
Yeah, but see, Sarah, she wasn't a casual player. She was a pro-level gamer, a completionist. Her entire life, she wasn't just playing the main story quest. She was dedicating herself to finding and completing all the optional, hidden, and incredibly difficult quests of holiness. And these quests, acts of kindness, connection, self-refinement, they didn't just give her experience points. They fundamentally changed her access to the game's core code.
And because she did all that branding, she unlocked a secret level, right? A hidden Easter egg on the map called Kiryat Arba. And this wasn't a normal area. You have to think of it like a secret founder's room, a developer's backdoor portal that was built into the game's code by its original programmers, the patriarchs. It's a firewalled safe zone, a nexus point totally shielded from all the game's enemies and corruption mechanics.
So here's the amazing part. When it was time for her game to end, there was no boss fight. She didn't have to face the corrupting serpent at all. She took 0 poison damage. She just strolls into the founder's room, hits the secret exit portal, and just logs out of the physical life level, cleanly. She ascends to the next permanent level of existence with every single one of her achievements and all her experience points perfectly intact. It was a perfect run.
Look, this is an absolutely mind-blowing, mystical teaching. But the Zohar isn't just giving us ancient history or a cool story about Sarah. It's giving us a mission. The secret of Sarah's death is meant to be a blueprint for our own lives and, ultimately, for our own transitions.
So,
Here is the ultimate takeaway from all of this. Our mission isn't just to get through life. It's to proactively build our own internal Kiryat Arba. Right here, right now, every single act of genuine connection, every moment we choose unity instead of separation, every time we build a bridge instead of a wall, we are laying another stone in our own spiritual fortress. We are forging that hardwired connection to our spiritual root, the one that the serpent of chaos cannot even touch.
So it really brings it all back to us, you know? Sarah's exit was this beautiful, perfect culmination of a life of kabur, a life of connection. She defined her final chapter with every single day that came before it. And so we have to ask ourselves, what connections are we building today? What quests of holiness are we taking on right now that will define our own final chapter?
Thank you for joining us for this complete journey through the Pardes. We truly hope these ancient truths help you and your family improve your own dimensions this week.
And if you enjoyed this full chapter deep dive, please like, subscribe, and definitely share which part of this journey touched your soul in the comments. We love reading them.
We'll see you in the next chapter.